Welcome back. All right, so it's Saturday night. There were a lot of early games, which means there was like 2.5 hours of panic. The way that I'm doing the goal magnets now, too, is different. I don't have a goal magnet board. I have like these little containers that have different team goal magnets in them, so I'm having to grab the container every time there's a goal. And, you know, on nights like this, it can be a little bit taxing because for some reason all the games had goals happening at the same time. There was a point where the game I had on the computer and the one on the TV had goals scored at the exact same moment, and I was like, that's ridiculous. But let's get into the big one. So the heavyweight matchup today was the Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers. Now, in the end, it is a victory for Florida, and they got to a nice big lead in this. It's Anderson versus Knight, no Sasha Barkov. So Barkov was out for Florida, and so you're thinking, boy, they already don't have Bennett, and they don't have Bobrovsky, and now they don't have Barkov. If your last name starts with a B in Florida, you're in trouble. So the Panthers get a power play at 37 seconds, and for most of that penalty kill, Carolina does well until Duclair scores from Verhaeghe and Montour at 2:28. That is a power play goal with 9 seconds left on said power play. The Canes get a power play soon after, but then we get a minute and 35 seconds of 4-on-4 as Svechnikov goes to the penalty box. Everything gets killed off, but Florida fans are immediately asking for a penalty again on Carolina. Oh, just be patient. The Panthers had the edge in the first half. They end up with another power play right at the half. A little bit before the half, and then at 10:02, it's Vetrano scoring from Montour and Duclair. And that was near the end of that power play, too. So again, for Carolina, good penalty kill, but just that momentary lapse, and it's in the net. And so Vetrano gets one on the power play, and it's 2-0. Canes press with 9 minutes left. They weren't getting very many shots. Puck goes the other way, and Lundell scores from Tippett and Gudas at 13:14. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. This kid looks like a veteran. He does not look like a rookie out there. That was the 9th shot for Florida, so 3 out of the first 9 went in the net. The Panthers then get a power play. Yeah, again, and they score again on the power play. So that's 3 power play markers. Hornquist from Reinhart and Duclair at 15:28. And then the Panthers just kept going for it. So that's 3 power play markers. Carolina's penalty kill came into today with great numbers. This is the night where some great numbers for goaltenders and for teams take a hit. So it's 4-0 Florida after 1. Second period, and this is as all of the other games get going. 7 other games got going at the same time. So second period, the Canes had a better start, Knight making some saves. Ronta was sharp when tested. And then, well, shots were 5-4 for the Canes at 6 minutes. Fast from Slavin and Trocheck happens at 7:01. So, much better start for the Canes. Tippett had a net pass that didn't connect. And then there was a 5-minute major penalty against Ryan Lomberg for a charge on Antti Ranta. And so there's some debate about whether or not he intended to hit Ranta. I don't think there's going to be a suspension out of it for Lomberg. And again, it seems like the division is down the lines of whichever team you cheer for as to whether or not you thought Lomberg deserved 5 in a game for that. Lomberg was upset with it, but most players are when they get that 5 in a game. So, on that 5-minute power play, there was a shorthanded chance for Duclair because it's what he does. But then Trocheck does score because you have 5 minutes with the power play and it's Carolina. Trocheck from Svechnikov and Teravainen at 15:20 with 2 minutes and 2 seconds left on the major. The Panthers hold on and kill off the rest. So it's 4-2 after 2. Third period, the Canes were ahead in shots 2-1 at 5 minutes. The Canes would get a power play. That was unsuccessful. The Panthers then get a power play. It's unsuccessful, but takes 2 more minutes off the clock. Goaltender gets pulled in the final 2 minutes by Carolina and Duclair. Duclair scores from Verhaeghe into the empty net at 19:01, and that makes Anthony Duclair your first star of the game. Lundell was the second star. Trocheck, third star. Former Florida Panther, now Carolina Hurricane. The shots were 15-6 Florida in the first, 14-8 Carolina in the second, 12-9 Carolina in the third. Final shots, both teams had 32. Power plays, Carolina goes 1 for 5. Florida went 3 for 5. So, yeah, that's very telling. So Anderson, 23 saves on 27 shots. He got taken out. It was more of a mercy pull than anything. Ronta saved all 4 shots before Lomberg knocks him out of that game in that collision. And Ronta leaving a game injured, it's just that happens a lot with him. So Knight was then the goaltender of record for Florida. He saves 30 out of 32. Looked very good. And so round 1 goes to Florida. Cannot wait for round 2. Florida now goes to 10-0-1. They're the only team left without a regulation loss. Carolina's 9-1. All right, let's move on. Detroit. The Detroit Red Wings going against Buffalo. And again, it feels like Buffalo is really starting to slide. So this was a matchup of two teams that had kind of slid down from what was a really good start for both. Nedeljkovic versus Tokarski. And at 16 seconds, Suter opens the scoring for Detroit from Raymond to Bertuzzi. So that's not the start you want if you're the Sabres, right? Who were playing in front of another half-empty building. The shots were 5-4 for the Wings at 6.5 minutes. And the Wings were honestly, they were playing better. They won 7 of the first 9 faceoffs. But later on, Buffalo getting some more shots. They end up getting a late power play. That rolls over into the second period where the Wings finish off the kill. There was an early press by the Sabres in the second. Seider had a shot that was blocked. Skinner robbed with the glove by Nedeljkovic. But then Thompson scores from Skinner and Asplund at 11:32. The Sabres then get a power play, and they score on it. It's Dahlin with his first of the season from Butcher and Asplund at 12:36. So Rasmus Asplund has had a very good start to the season for Buffalo. He's been a highlight for this team, right? Sabres then had a 2-on-1. That was defended. And the teams were taking turns on breaks back and forth. The defense was kind of optional. So we go to the third period. Asplund had a chance that was saved. The Sabres press at 4.5 minutes. Hinostroza was denied. But then Ruotsalainen makes it 3-1. He scores from Miller and Hayden at 6:08. The Wings get a power play. It is unsuccessful. It is killed off by the Buffalo Sabres. So we're into the second half of the period, and then the Bertuzzi show starts. He scores from DeKeyser and Raymond at 13:24, and then exactly a minute and a half later, Bertuzzi scores again from Suter and Raymond, and we're in a tie game. The Sabres then press with a minute and a half left, but we go to overtime. In the overtime, Dahlin took a fall, but recovered, got the puck back. Thompson had a net drive, that fizzled for him, and Detroit, who had opportunities in that overtime. Eventually, it is Moritz Seider scoring his first from Bertuzzi at 2:45, and it was right after Thompson. Tage Thompson has kind of a net crash situation where he ends up down, so that leads to a 3-on-2 the other way, and Detroit buries it. So your final score is 4-3 for Detroit in overtime. Detroit 5-5-2 on the season. For Buffalo, with the overtime loss, they dropped to 5-4-2 on the year. 3 stars are Bertuzzi, Thompson, and Asplund. The shots 12-9 Buffalo in the first, 9-6 Buffalo in the second. Detroit outshoots them 14-10 in the third, and in the overtime they outshot them 4-1. Final shots 33-32 for Detroit. Power plays: Detroit 0-for-1, Buffalo 1-for-2. Nedeljkovic saves 29 out of 32, and Tokarski saves 29 out of 33. And again, this was a matchup between two teams that have kind of fallen off, and you can see reasons for hope in this game if you want to see that. You can also see reasons for why they've fallen off as well if you want to see that too. So, all right, moving along. Boston. The Bruins going against Toronto tonight, and this is one of those games that really, Toronto is on a run right now, and they look really good. So it was Ullmark versus Campbell. Jack Campbell might be playing the best hockey of his career right now. Lazar missed a hit on Muzzin early on there. There was a fast start for both teams, some good chances at either end of the ice. Leafs get a power play. That was a no. Grzelcyk had a shot that was saved. Bruins get a power play, and they do score on it. And it's Taylor Hall scoring from Bergeron and Marchand at 8 minutes and 32 seconds. Now, for Hall, that's the first goal he scored against Toronto since 2012. So he doesn't score goals against Toronto often. It doesn't end up being a big deal in tonight's game. The Leafs try to answer. There was a goal by the Leafs, but the question was the net off? So was the net there? Did it go in first? And yes, it did. It counts. Tavares from Marner and Riley at 12:21. The Bruins would try to answer. Unable to. Nylander, he couldn't bury one with 4 minutes left. So it's 1-1 going to the second period. But Toronto had to feel pretty good about the fact that this is tied, and they've had their opportunities. The Bruins outshoot them, but pretty good first period. Second period, Bruins get a power play, and the Leafs wouldn't let them get set up. So the Bruins, frustrating power play for them. Then we get a power play for the Leafs. That was unsuccessful, but then Marner with the net drive draws another power play for the Leafs, and this one is successful. Austin Matthews scores from Marner at 14:59. So Matthews is heating up, Marner's heating up, so is Tavares. It's a good time right now for the Leafs. Hall with a break, fires it wide. Wide open back and forth play. Marchand. So his temper starts to increase. And I've talked about this before. If you see Marchand on the ice and he's angry and he's out there throwing punches and he's getting in people's faces, that means Boston's losing. That's an indicator that Boston's losing the game. And right now they're down 2-1. But with 1:57 left, because of Marchand going to the box, he was trying to take a Leaf with him. It's another power play for Toronto, and they score on it. So this is a hot and cold power play that Toronto has. You look at last year, there were times where it looked fantastic and times where it couldn't put the puck in the ocean. Tonight, it scores again. Matthews with his second power play goal in the second period from Riley and Marner at 18:54. And if you look at those highlights, you can see how fired up Toronto is to win these games against Boston. This is huge for them. This is a bigger game than others. And the Leafs went for more. So it's 3-1 Toronto after 2. The crowd's really into it. It's an electric atmosphere. And we go to the third period. Early power play for the Bruins, unsuccessful. And then Tavares scores from Nylander and Sandin at 2:53. The Bruins then press at 4.5 minutes. Pastrnak was denied, but he was not denied the second time. He scores from Marchand at 8:29. So that makes it 4-2, but you still get the feeling like this game's out of reach for Boston, right? The Bruins were forechecking at the half. They get a power play. It is unsuccessful. They pulled the goaltender with more than 2 minutes left. That allows Marner to get the empty netter from Tavares and Kerfoot at 19:17. Toronto wins big, 5-2. They go to 7-4-1. Boston drops to 5-4. Toronto's absolutely turned around that awful start they had to the season. For Boston, they've had a good start to the season in general. Tonight was just, they didn't have the answer for Toronto. Your 3 stars, Marner, Matthews, Tavares. Recipe for success for Toronto. The shots, 13-8 Boston in the first, 18-8 for Toronto in the second. And then in the third, it was a shooting gallery. 23-9 for Boston. Final shots, 44-36 for the Bruins. Surprised Jack Campbell's not in the 3 stars. Power plays, 1-for-4 for Boston, 2-for-4 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Ullmark saves 31 out of 35. Campbell saves 42 out of 44. And that chant of soup every time he makes a save, I got to admit, I'm not a Leafs fan, but it's kind of nice to see. So there's some good stories going on with Toronto. We'll see where they can take it. All right, next up. So this is the weirdest game of the night right here. Vegas and Montreal. This one way at the end of the board here. This is a game that, this is the one I chose to have on the computer behind me. So I have 6 games I'm scrolling through on the TV. I don't watch them all at once. But there's 6 games I'm scrolling between on the TV. And then this is the one I've decided I'm going to have that on the computer because I'm really interested to see how this works out. Because Vegas has been hot and cold. And Montreal has been baffling. Just befuddling. And tonight might have been the most befuddlingest game they played. Pretty sure that's a word. So it was Leonard versus Allen. Weidman had a chance that was saved. The Habs came out with the early edge. They came out, they knew they needed to win this game. Pressed by Montreal at 5 minutes. The fans seem to be into it too, really appreciating the good start. So the players are off to a good start. The fans are excited. Things are going well for Montreal. Scrappy at the Vegas net after a save by Leonard. Lots of saves by Leonard in that first period. Dvorak fires one wide after a turnover. Leonard then stopped a chance from Gallagher. 2 minutes of 4-on-4 then happens as this game was really hotly contested even early on here. The Habs get a power play. The shots are 14-1 at the time they go on to this power play. 14-1. And they score on it. It's Suzuki from Hoffman at 17-18. So Nick Suzuki continues to recover from a slow start. It turns out that having a bad first couple of weeks of the season doesn't mean your career's over. So, there's that. And then Leonard, this was the 18th shot by Montreal, so it was the 4th shot of that power play. It finally goes in. But then a minute and 31 seconds later, Toffoli scores his first 5-on-5 goal of the year from Gallagher and Suzuki. So Suzuki with a goal and an assist there, and they're up 2-0. Vegas still only has 1 shot on the game. Anderson then nearly made it to 3-0. So it looked really good for Montreal after 1 period. Just, you have to keep it up. That's been Montreal's problem. So second period, Habs with a power play at 20 seconds. And on that, Dvorak and Toffoli both had close calls. Just couldn't bury it. Vegas kills it off. The shots are now 22-1 in favor of Montreal. So finally Vegas gets shots at around the 5-minute mark. I was like, okay, so they're getting a couple opportunities. Well, then they get a power play out of it. And they score on it pretty much right away. It's Pietrangelo from Theodore and Stevenson at 5:16. So now it's 2-1. Evans fails to bury one. And all of a sudden, because of Robin Lehner's goaltending, because of the record Montreal sporting coming into this, and just a general feeling on this team of a lack of self-confidence, you could feel the tension through the crowd and through the players. The way that this game was being played completely changed as soon as Vegas got on the board. And it is really tough to turn that around. It's something we see with Chicago. It's something we've seen with Vancouver. We've seen it with Ottawa at times where that goal goes in and the team just, there's this deflation that takes place that they're going to have to stop it. But they don't. So Marchessault scores from Raw and Haig at 10:24. That is the 6th shot of the game for Vegas. And now they've got 2 in the net. Vegas then gets another power play. And they score on it on the first shot. So they have 3 goals on 7 shots. Montreal has a ton of shots. They have 2 goals, and there's 3 for Vegas, with the goal by Coughlin from Pietrangelo and Smith at 12 minutes. So all of a sudden, it is 3-2. The crowd gets really quiet. You can see that the players are deflated at this point. And yeah, the game just seemed to kind of turn on that. Near goal then for Petrie, but Vegas definitely had the momentum with 55.9 seconds left. Montreal gets power play. You need the goal here. Going into the third period. In the third, Vegas kills off the rest of that power play. Strong start for Vegas. Habs get a power play. No, their power play was not successful after that in the first period. Chances for the Habs, they just couldn't bury it. We then get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. They end up pulling the goaltender relatively early because they're down by 1 goal, but it feels like it's going to take a lot to get there, so pull the goalie, and that gives Stevenson a shot at the empty net. He takes it at 17:09. Dvorak was then robbed of a chance to get the game closer, and then McNabb, he also hits the empty net from Lehner at 19:25. So Robin Lehner gets on the board with an assist, and Vegas ends up winning this one 5-2. They go to 6-5 on the season. Montreal drops to 3-10. 13 games into the season, Montreal's won 3, and they haven't even lost an overtime game. They don't have any of those extra points that you really desperately need. So 6 points in 13 games. They've dug themselves into quite the hole now in Montreal. 3 stars in this one, Pietrangelo, Suzuki, and Lehner. Shots 20-1 for Montreal in the first. 10-9 Vegas in the second. 9-7 Montreal in the third. Final shots 38-18 in favor of Montreal. Lehner, 36 saves on 38 shots. Allen saves 13 out of 16. He came into tonight's game with a .904 save percentage. That's going to take a little bit of a drop. They need Carey Price back. And I don't even know if that's necessarily going to turn things around. But whenever Price is able to come back, and it could be quite a while, they're going to need it. Anyways, let's go to the next board. Remember, you get to fall back tonight. Speaking of falling back, Pittsburgh at home against the Minnesota Wild. This was probably the wildest game of the night. And again, Minnesota, a team that played really boring hockey up until last season. Now, their games are must-watch TV. You don't know what's going to happen. You just don't. So it was Talbot versus Jarry. There was an early power play for the Pens. Point shot nearly fools Talbot. Aston Reese was denied a goal. But then it's Kaprizov. He scores from Goligoski and Goudreau. Almost said Gavrikov, but it's Goudreau at 9:44. The Wild then pressed for another. So really good start on the road for Minnesota. Sturm had a chance. Jarry makes the glove save there. Power play for the Wild. That was a no. And then Kasperi Kapanen starts his run. He scores from Zucker and Rodriguez at 16:33. From Zucker and Rodriguez. First goal. Nice deke by him. And then Kapanen scores again before the period's out from Rodriguez and Zucker. So just reverse the assists at 19:04. So suddenly it's 2-1 Pittsburgh going into the second period. Second period, early chance for the Wild. Bluger then had a chance at the other end. Talbot denies him. Eriksson Ek with a near miss when he got the opportunity. Rust with the break. Talbot makes the save there. The Wild would get a power play. Spurgeon had a chance that was saved, and Pittsburgh survives. They kill it off. Net crash by the Wild after. Rust, he then had a net drive that was saved, but that's how Rust plays, right? Just take the puck straight to the net. Just put it through the goalie if you have to. It's Brian Rust's whole thing. The Wild, their fourth line got chances, but Pittsburgh adds to their lead. It's Jake Gensel from Rust and Matheson at 13:34. So Rust making himself felt here, and he's got an assist. But before the period's out, Spurgeon scores from Brodin and Foligno at 16:57. So Minnesota's keeping it close. Kapanen had a rush chance defended. He was going for his third goal. Zucker then had a shot that was saved, and we're going to the third period. There was an early cycle by the Pens. Rust with 5 shots to this point in the game. Didn't get a goal, but he's generating opportunities. Duhaime and Sturm then had chances that were saved. The Penguins get a power play. They don't score on it, but after that's done, Kapanen gets the hat trick from Rust and Letang at 8:45. It looked like Gensel might have tipped it, so there's hats all over the ice. I wouldn't be surprised if this goal's been changed to Gensel, but on a night like this, I put on the board what the app tells me, and then if that goal changes to Gensel, you can't give all the hats back. You can't. So there's that. And they talked about that too, like, oh, if this is Gensel's. But yeah, the goaltender gets pulled early by Minnesota, and it turns out to be a really good move. First, it's Spurgeon 6-on-5 from Gaudreau and Kaprizov at 16:41. They pull the goalie again with about 2 minutes left, and 6-on-5, it's Hartman from Dumba and Beckman at 19:57. Yes, just before the game's over. And it felt kind of like the Winnipeg game. So we go to overtime. Penguins controlling the faceoff. They had a 2-on-1 that missed the net. Zucker had a break. He was denied. Marino had a break. He was also denied. So we're going to a shootout. In the shootout, it took a bit, but Bjugstad eventually puts the winner in. And so Minnesota steals one in Pittsburgh. They win 5-4 in the shootout. They go to 7-3 on the season. For Pittsburgh, they drop to 4-3-3 on the season. And so, yeah, 3 stars. Kapanen, Spurgeon, and Kaprizov. Your shots in this game, 11-10 Minnesota in the first, 16-13 for Pittsburgh in the second, 12-10 Minnesota in the third, 4-3 Minnesota in the overtime. Your final shots, 40-39 for the Wild. Both teams go for 2 on the power play. Talbot, 35 saves on 39 shots. Jarry's 36 saves on 40 shots. So that was an exciting game. That was a lot of fun. Philadelphia and Washington also played a game tonight. Now, if you like goaltending, this was the game for you. And coming out of this game, I would expect in the next Washington game, Ovechkin scores like 4. That's my expectation, because he doesn't get a goal tonight. So it was Jones versus Vanacek. Jones seems to be doing better in Philly than he did last year in San Jose, which is good, because I like Jones. I think he's a decent goaltender, but the numbers haven't backed that up for years. Pressed by the Flyers at 2.5 minutes. In fact, 4 minutes into this, the shots are 3-0 for the Flyers. They committed this with a game plan, and they executed it. The Caps get a power play. That was unsuccessful. Ovi had a snapshot. That was stopped. Not a lot of room out there for either team in the first period. I mean, there were some shots, but most of them to the outside, not really the high danger variety. There's a late power play for the Flyers. It's unsuccessful, and we go to the second period. The Flyers press at 3 minutes. Giroux had a chance on a 3-on-2. That was stopped. Some dislike going on at the Flyers bench, and we found out why. Because one of the players on the Philly bench decided to hit somebody that was on the ice. So that's called bench interference. So the Caps get a power play out of it, but they don't succeed. So the player that punches the Washington player from the bench probably goes, worth it. So Brassard ends up scoring from Atkinson at 11:18, and it was a nice goal fired top corner by Brassard. Brassard's one of those veteran players who's been with a lot of teams. He will very likely get traded at the deadline because it's what happens with Brassard. He might be the one guy who could challenge Mike Sillinger for the record of number of teams played for. He just has to hang on a few more years, and I think he'll get there. Both teams were getting chances with 5 minutes left, and then Couturier scores from Ristolainen and Giroux at 15:44. So, again, this is a really good road game by Philadelphia. Really solid game by Jones as well. It's 2-0 Philly after 2. Third period. Flyers were not giving anything at the blue line. So Washington could come through center, but as soon as you hit that blue line, good luck. Wilson fires one high. No shots on net by either team in the first 5 minutes. So this is Philly playing a game plan that looks a lot like an Islanders game plan we'll talk about. And apparently, I found out in this game, wrestling on the ice is allowed. You have two guys down on the ice, and they're just wrestling their way around, and that's okay. Now, not only were there no shots, but there was no whistle in the third period until the goal in the third period was scored. It's Leeson scoring from McMichael and Carlson at 6:02. So if you're a Caps fan, seeing Leeson on the board, seeing McMichael on the board, these are good things because you want to see the kids performing well, right? So that makes it 2-1. Sherry was then denied by Jones. Things get scrummy at the net after that. The Caps get a power play. Jones kicked out a shot from Ovi. The Caps did pull the goalie. They did everything they could. Could not solve Jones. Your final score is 2-1 Philadelphia. They go to 6-2-2. For the Caps, they dropped to 5-2-4. And this is where I start to say, okay, the Caps aren't getting the victories, and so that's problematic. When is Backstrom coming back kind of thing. 3 stars in this one, Jones, Vanacek, and Couturier. Your shots, 12-6 Philadelphia in the first, 14-11 Philadelphia in the second, 15-6 Washington in the third. Both teams had 32 shots in this game. Your power plays, Philadelphia goes 0 for 1, Washington goes 0 for 3. Jones saves 31 out of 32. Excellent game for him. Vanacek, 30 saves on 32 shots. Both goalies did well. So, yeah, there you go. Goaltending matchup, goaltending duel. All right, next up. So, while I'm officially starting to get concerned with the Caps here, I'm also starting to get concerned with Colorado. And you'll see that when I get to the power rankings later. I had given them the benefit of the doubt. I said, okay, well, when they get healthy, we'll see what happens. They're getting healthier, and the result tonight isn't what you're looking for. And yet, if you're a Columbus fan, this might be the game that gets Columbus the kind of respect that they've earned. They've earned this respect. So it was Kemper versus Merzlikins. There was an early chance for McKinnon. Board battle in the Columbus zone at 2.5 minutes that involved at least 6 of the guys on the ice. Avs couldn't bury one at 5 minutes. They get a power play. And at the half, the shots are 7-2 in their favor. So very good road game by Colorado. However, Gabriel Carlsson scores his first goal from Voracek and Chinakhov at 11:44. I believe that's Chinakhov's first NHL point because it was his first assist, and I don't think he has a goal. Avs then get a power play, strong penalty kill by Columbus, but after that power play's over, Colorado does get on the board. It's Burakovsky from Kadri and Girard at 16:16. Columbus then goes to the power play right after. There were a lot of power plays in this game, not successful. So we go to the second period. Columbus gets another power play early in that period. That was a no. The Avs get their turn. There was a shorthanded chance for Werenski during that was denied. Columbus kills it. We get some back and forth action after. But in the second half of the second period, Burakovsky scores unassisted at 13:16. So now Colorado's ahead. Columbus gets a power play. Nope. And the Avs get a power play late in the period. Also a no, as Columbus would finish the kill early in the third. So we get another power play for Columbus. Again, the Avs and the Avs don't let them set up on that power play. So it's 2-1 for Colorado. Both power plays look ineffective. And then Texier from Robertson and Merzlikins. Merzlikins gets on the board tonight for Columbus at 13:37. Suddenly it's tied. So I'm getting ready for it to be overtime. I'm flipping back and forth between games that are close. These three being close. I'm making sure I keep close eye on what's going on with them. And then Sillinger. On a goal that they first thought was Chinakhov's. Yeah, so that would have been his first goal. Yeah, right, because that would have been Chinakhov's first goal. So they celebrated like it was Chinakhov's first goal, but Sillinger tipped it. So Sillinger with the goal from Chinakhov and Gavrikov at 18:58. That puts Columbus ahead. And it was a great shift and a nice tipped goal by Sillinger. So they pulled the goaltender immediately off of that face-off. That allows Bjorkstrand to hit the empty net from Jenner and Gavrikov at 19 minutes and 30 seconds. Columbus wins this one 4-2. They go to 7-3 on the season. For Colorado, 4-5-1 on the season now. So 10 games into the season, they are below 500. And so again, I do have some concerns with Colorado. Your 3 stars in this one, Merzlikins, Sillinger, and Burakovsky. The shots were 13-9 Colorado in the first, 17-9 Columbus in the second, and then 16-14 in that wild third period in favor of Columbus. Final shots, 42-36 for the Blue Jackets. Both teams went 0 for 4 on the power play. Darcy Kemper saves 38 out of 41. Might have been one of his better games as an Avalanche. but Merzlikins was just that much better with 34 saves on 36 shots. So pretty good night for him, and not too bad of a night for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Again, they're looking for respect. Games like that will do it. The Islanders. So it's not exciting hockey with the Islanders. I don't think I'm saying anything that people don't already know. But if you're an Islanders fan and they're winning like this, doesn't matter. They continue this amazing road trip. This is the 9th game of a 13-game road trip. It was Sorokin versus Comrie, and 3 minutes and 12 seconds in, on the second shot of the game for the Islanders, Anders Lee from Bailey and Barzal. That's a scoring combination that Islanders fans are going to be happy to see. Those three guys combining on a goal. And the shots were 6-1 for the Islanders at 7 minutes. They came out ready to play tonight. And the Jets really didn't. Eventually they kicked it into gear, but at that point Sorokin had his confidence. So there was a press by the Islanders at the half. The Jets then pressed after that. Nice glove save by Sorokin during that. Scheifele had a rush chance fired wide. Scheifele had a lot of opportunities that just didn't quite go tonight. The Islanders get a power play with 21 seconds left. So in the second period, the Jets finish off that penalty kill. There was a net miss by Scheifele, then Kopp fires one wide. The puck goes the other way. Parise couldn't bury one either. So both teams struggling when it comes to getting those goals and the shots on net that you want. Crossbar then for Wheeler. The Jets really snake bit on this. And again, for Sorokin, good game by him, and a little bit of luck as well that these pucks are hitting posts. So you go to the third period, and in the first minute, the Islanders kind of salted away. It's Nelson continuing his hot streak from Montreal. He scores from Palmieri and Pelech, and at 47 seconds, that makes it 2-0. Kopp with a close call. The Islanders clear it out, though, when Kopp almost gets a goal there. Lee with a rush chance that was saved. Beauvillier then had a net drive that was defended. He didn't get the shot away. Barzal with a breakaway. He ends up hitting the post. That close to it being 3-0. Jets pulled the goalie, but the Islanders end up getting a face-off in the Jets' end, which means you got to put Comrie back in, and then the Islanders are like, let's just keep it here, and then we don't have to worry about it. So your final score is 2-0. The Islanders go to 5-2-2 on this road trip. For the Jets, this loss makes them 6-3-2 on the season. Your 3 stars are Sorokin, Nelson, and Comrie. So Eric Comrie, even after allowing a goal in the second shot, he's still one of the 3 stars because he was very good tonight. Shots were 9-7 Islanders in the first, 12-9 Islanders in the second, 10-8 Islanders in the third, 31-24 overall in favor of the Islanders. Both teams 0-for-1 on the power play. This was an Islanders game. Not a lot of power plays. They kept their shots against down and not a lot of great opportunities, and just, fast game and get her done. Sorokin with all 24 saves for the shutout, and Comrie 29 saves on 31 shots. Again, he played well, just the team in front of him couldn't get a goal past Sorokin. And the Islanders are starting to roll. That being said, I do need to change boards. All right, now we're into the 3 games that were the late games, and you can see that there's more note-taking on that because it wasn't 8 games on at the same time. And this is ridiculous. We'll talk about the ridiculousness and the fact that I get to wear an Arizona jersey. We don't know when this is going to happen again, so I was definitely wearing Arizona for the review, right? All right, so Calgary. Calgary loves playing the New York Rangers. They'd like to play the Rangers a lot. Flames fans would like to have the opportunity to boo Adam Fox as much as humanly possible. The Rangers came into tonight with some really good stats with their goaltending and their overall defense. Those get annihilated by the Flames. In fact, in 2 games against the Flames, they've allowed 11 goals. So it's Shesterkin versus Markstrom. Early chances for the Flames in this one. Lindholm fires wide, doing that whole pucks deep. Dump it in, forecheck, dump it in, forecheck. The shots are 4-0 Flames at 5 minutes. So this is that fast start they need that they didn't really get in their last game. Mangiapane couldn't bury one. Goudreau then had a shot that was saved. That's Barclay Goudreau. The Rangers get a power play. Strome's shot was saved. That was killed off. The Flames get a power play and they score on it. It's Monahan from Tkachuk and Goudreau at 16 minutes. So it's 1-0 Calgary. The Rangers press with 2 minutes left, and Fox tied it. Not only did Fox tie it, but then he goes to the glass and he's kind of like, yeah, look at this, I scored. Like, just, not mocking, but sort of like showing off, like, look at me, because he knows all the fans are booing him. Every time he touches the puck, they boo him. So he hot-dogged it a little bit on the tying goal, and then it's revealed it was offside. So the crowd really let Adam Fox have it after that. They started chanting at him after that. And all I could think was, why wasn't Adam Fox in Calgary's division? Why couldn't we have a world where Adam Fox and Calgary play each other 4 times a year? That'd be fun. So, second period, Shillington was dropped by Nemeth. He hit the stanchion on that play. He goes off to the quiet room. He would return. He was okay. Mangiapane with a shot that was saved. Goudreau with a rush chance wouldn't go for Calgary. Markstrom making some huge saves at this point. I know there was one on Strome that was fantastic. Physical game, too, tonight. These teams really not liking one another. Flames get a power play. There was a shorthanded chance for Rooney. They would kill that off. And then Brad Richardson scores his first goal as a Flame from Shillington at 9:15. That's how you know Shillington came back. He's got the assist on that. The Rangers tried to answer. Lindholm had a drive that was stopped by Shesterkin, but then Goudreau puts it in from Lindholm and Tkachuk at 11:19. And it's 3-0 Flames. And the crowd's getting really loud. The Flames are getting really happy. And I don't know. They just have the Rangers' number. Dubé then nearly adds another. The Rangers get a power play. That was unsuccessful. Reeves with a hit to the head on Mangiapane. Guess how many minutes he got? 2. Is he going to get a hearing? Yeah, probably. Could he get suspended? Absolutely. It is that baffling thing where it's a hit to the head. It's called that way. The referee sees it. And we may see a suspension later, but at least Ryan Reeves got to finish out the game. I will not understand that. Because we've discussed already Lomberg. It's something that happened in the game between Calgary and Florida. And that I don't know that necessarily means a suspension. But for Reeves, that might. Because, it could. But it's only a 2-minute penalty here. All right. Also on that play, Tenorti ended up having a fight with Goodbranson. They're both big. So that's where linesmen say, we'll let them punch themselves out. So Dubé had a shot that was saved. That was killed off. So there was a power play that comes out of all of that for Calgary. We go to the third period. First minute, the Rangers get a power play. That was killed off. And then the Flames right after that, they get a 3-on-1. Shesterkin makes a save on that. The Rangers press at 4.5 minutes. Doesn't go well. And eventually, Goudreau scores from Tkachuk at 6:42. And that was not a great goal for Shesterkin. A lot of these goals tonight were really nice, maybe tip deflected goals. The one from Goudreau was a 5-hole shot that, Shesterkin would want to have back. Zibanejad was then robbed in close. And then it's Lucic, who's all of a sudden off to a pretty good start. That's his 4th goal this year. He scores from Dubé and Mangiapane at 13:13. And then at 14:56, Tkachuk scores his first of the game from Goudreau and Lindholm. So, yeah, that line's going pretty well. Calgary wins this one 6-0. With that loss, the Rangers drop to 6-3-3. Calgary goes to 7-1-3. Continue this amazing start they've had. Your 3 stars are Tkachuk, Goudreau, and Markstrom. Because lost in all this is that Markstrom gets another shutout. The shots were 9-6 Calgary in the first, 16-8 Calgary in the second, and 12-8 Calgary in the third. Final shots 37-22 for the Flames. Power plays, Rangers 0-3. Calgary 1-3. Shesterkin 31 saves on 37 shots. Markstrom saved all 22 he faced. And they're done with each other. And I'm sad. I'm sad that it's the start of November and these teams don't see each other again unless it's in the Stanley Cup final. It's sad, and yeah, but that's how that works, right? So, okay, next up, because I want to see Fox and Calgary again. But yeah, so Seattle tonight goes into Arizona, and this was an interesting game. This was befuddling too. So I've talked about the Montreal game being just weird. This was, I don't know what planet I'm on. I don't know what's going on, but all of a sudden Arizona can score. So it was Grubauer versus Vejmelka. Not for long for Vejmelka. Eberle scores from Wenberg at 15 seconds. So it's 1-0 Seattle. Then on their second shot, they score again, and it's Yanni Gourde from Tanev and Alexiak, 59 seconds. I don't think it's against the rules for me to say this is Vejmelka's worst start. He didn't make a save. So, yeah. And so Wedgwood was in. Wedgwood wearing his nice New Jersey Devils mask because he just got picked up on waivers by the Arizona Coyotes. I didn't even realize that had taken place, and everything else has been going on. I didn't even realize he got picked up. I didn't even see that. So I saw him put on waivers by New Jersey. I didn't see him getting picked up, so I apologize. But yeah, he's in the net for Arizona. And I was like, oh, okay, Wedgwood, cool. And so Roussel scores from Gostisbehere at 1 minute and 33 seconds on a 2-on-1. That's 3 goals on 3 shots in this game. And all I could think was, I debated about whether to move this game over to this column because I thought I might need more than one column for this game for all the goals. I really thought that was going to happen. Donato was downed. He skated off. He wasn't very happy with the referees on that one. I know he wasn't on their bench for the second period either. Deneen blocks a Yarncroak shot. Some good back and forth chances at the half. And then it's Nathan Bastian. Nice individual effort by him at 11:04. The forecheck by Seattle led to that goal. And it's 3-1. So welcome to the game, Wedgwood. And it's 3-1 for Seattle. Deneen then handed one to Schwartz. It was almost 4-1. So this game looked like it was going to be a disaster for Arizona, which of course we've seen all year, right? Roussel then had a shot that was blocked. Coyotes pressure. Grubauer holds it. And then with 8.8 seconds left, we get 4-on-4 for 2 minutes because things are getting a little dicey here. So in the second period, as I said, Donato not on the Seattle bench. And then Boyd, former Canuck. Here's a former Canuck here. So 2 former Canucks on the board. Boyd from Fisher and Gostisbehere at 3 minutes and 12 seconds. So that's Ghost's second assist of the game. Suddenly it's 2-2. The Coyotes, or 3-2, I should say. The Coyotes then nearly tie it. Seattle presses at the 6-minute mark. Eberle ends up hitting a crossbar. Another Seattle press, but no shots. They're being held to the outside by Arizona at this point. And a little bit of overpassing going on by Seattle, too. Ghost then with a wraparound that was saved. Donskoy had a shot that was saved, but Seattle gets a power play. That was unsuccessful. And Donskoy at this point, he's been ice cold. He hasn't got a goal yet. So I do wonder how long this goes before Seattle looks to make some kind of changes. But we go to the third period with it 3-2 for Seattle. Wenberg was denied early, and then the puck goes the other way. And it's Lawson Krause. He scores from Larson and Chychrun at 46 seconds. And I will admit, I was happy to hear Chychrun's name mentioned as getting an assist. He's had a really cold start to the season. If he can get going, yeah, Arizona should win the odd game here and there, right? Seattle then tries to answer. Wedgwood denies Geekie. We get a power play for Seattle. That was a no. Eberle is denied. And then with 7:06 left, the Coyotes get a power play. It's Kessel scoring on the power play from Keller and Gostisbehere at 13:34. So Seattle pulls the goalie with a minute and 30 seconds left, and 6-on-5 they score to tie the game. It's Giordano from Schwartz at 18:42, and all I could think was, okay, so now we're going to overtime. But to get to overtime, you need to get a save from Grubauer. That doesn't happen. Krause scores from Larson 13 seconds later. So that makes it 5-4 for Arizona. And again, they're just not getting saves. They outplayed Arizona. They outchanced Arizona. But Arizona wins 5-4. They go to 1-10-1. There's that one. They got that first win. For Seattle, 4-7-1 for Seattle. And this is a rough loss. This is an expansion team loss right here. Your 3 stars were Krause, Gostisbehere, and Wedgwood. Wedgwood was excellent in relief. I think it's the New Jersey Devils helmet because New Jersey has actual wins coming into tonight. Arizona didn't, and I think the hockey gods were confused by that New Jersey Devils helmet. So your shots are 11-8 Seattle in the first, 8-7 Arizona in the second. Seattle outshot them 14-6 in the third. Outchanced them, but 3 of the 6 shots by Arizona go in the net. You can't have that. So your final shots are 32-22 for Seattle. The Kraken 0-2 on the power play. Arizona 1-1. Grubauer saves 17 out of 22. It's another kind of rough night for him. And Vejmelka saves nothing out of 2 shots, and then Wedgwood saves 28 out of 30. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Seattle the next time out, but they've got to start winning the games that they should be able to win if they're going to stay in the hunt. And I mean, it's their first year, right? So again, we get the unrealistic expectation from Vegas down there. Darn Vegas. But yeah, it's their first year. All right, next up, New Jersey. So the Devils came into tonight without a win on this road trip through California, and they needed one. And this was an odd game too. It was Bernier versus Reimer. It ends up being quite the goaltending matchup, actually. Mercer had a chance that was saved. The shots were 3-1 for the Devils at 5 minutes. Devils came out playing very well. The Sharks pressed, but they weren't getting shots at this point. They get a power play. Severson going to the box. So Severson had 3 penalties in the third period of their last game. Now he had a penalty at the start of this one, and I thought, that's not a good start for Severson. Hurdle was denied, and they did kill that one off. There's a press by the Sharks after. However, during that pressure, they take the penalty. It's unusual to see, but they take the penalty. Holtz gets a chance that was saved, and it's killed off. Holtz, in his second game, he still doesn't have a goal yet, but it's coming. It's going to happen. The Sharks press with 2.5 minutes left, but we go to the second period, still scoreless tie. 14 seconds in, the Devils get a power play. The Sharks would kill that off. Balser's had a good shot then as well. And then he would score. He scores at 4:52 from Ferraro and Burns. And it's 1-0 San Jose. So Rudolph's Balser's on the board. Bernier then stopped a Weatherby shot. The Sharks, it felt like it had taken over the game at this point. But at the same time, this game kind of evolves into one of those low chance games as we get into that later stage of the second period. And it felt a lot like the LA-New Jersey game, where the opportunities were getting less and less as the game goes along. But Graves would score his first as a Devil from Hischier and McLeod at 16 minutes and 45 seconds. Then Hischier to Zacha doesn't quite click. So New Jersey's starting to sense that they have an opportunity here, right? Press in the final minute by the Devils as well. So after 2 periods, it's 1-1. Third period, early Devils power play. That's unsuccessful. The Sharks then get a power play themselves, and they score on it. It's Jonathan Dahlen. He scores from Burns and Nick Merkley at 4 minutes and 21 seconds. So San Jose's up 2-1. The Sharks get another power play, but the Devils killed it. And now they need momentum. So the Sharks have the momentum. The Devils need to get that back. The shots were 5-4 in their favor with 9 minutes left, but it felt like the Sharks were probably going to win this, right? They're up 2-1. Bernier robbed Gadjevich. The Sharks press. They take a penalty. The Devils get chances. Bratt's stick broke as well, but still, that's fine. And then Kuokkanen scores to tie it from VC and White at 17:04. Now, here's where Lindy Ruff, I think, made a smart decision. He calls a timeout. They've just tied the game. He calls a timeout to kind of settle the guys down, which, in this case, I think with the amount of young guys you've got in New Jersey, that's the right call. So we get to overtime. The Devils control on the faceoff. Mercer had a chance that was stopped. Couture had one that he shot high, or shot wide. It was Ty Smith that fires one high. Burns had one that was saved and held, and then the next opportunity for Burns was saved as well. So we go to a shootout. And the winner in the shootout, Damon Severson. Severson with the ability to come back from what happened in the last game, make up for it tonight. He gets your shootout winner. The Devils win 3-2 in said shootout. They go to 5-3-2 on the season. For the Sharks, they're 6-4-1 with the shootout loss. But again, they're playing well considering they got so many players that aren't in their lineup. The 3 stars, Bernier, Burns, and Dahlen. Your shots, 10-9 New Jersey in the first, 9-7 San Jose in the second, 8-5 New Jersey in the third. In the overtime, the shots were 4-3 in favor of San Jose. So a lot of opportunities. Final shots, 28-27 for New Jersey. The power plays, New Jersey 0-4. San Jose 1-3. Bernier, 25 saves on 27 shots. Reimer, 26 saves on 28 shots. It's a good goaltending battle. And there you go. You're all caught up with tonight's action. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.